what we're going to do now you're all in, we've obviously got 2 superbikes on this side. The other thing I didn't explain on this side is the rules this year, you're only allowed 1 bike per rider. So in all classes, you're only allowed 1 bike per rider. It's the same in all the MotoGP classes, except for MotoGP itself, and it's next year going to be the same in World Superbike for Super. It's already that for Super Stock, it's going to be that for Super Sport as well. So that's just to try and cut the cost. The bike in the middle is Steve Plater's Super Stock bike, and that's as near standard road bike as you could have. If you had a standard Fireblade and you spent £2,000, you'd have exactly on your bike what's on that bike. There's next to nothing you can change. The only difference in that and the bike's still in the car park, apart from obvious things like the lights and hooters taken off it, is it's obviously got a different exhaust system, it's got different footrest kits, it's got a suspension unit on the back, and it's got different springs in the forks. Otherwise that's a stock standard road bike in every sense. The engine, the wheels, everything about it. And that's to try and make it a cheap class. So the bike costs about £9,000 as a standard bike, and for £2,000 you put it in that trim and have exactly the same specification bike. There's nothing on that bike you can't go out and buy. So it's a very straightforward exercise. We had one of those that we did about 3 seasons on and never touched it really. Did all the TT, Northwest, all the British Championships. So you can just keep using it and using it and using it, because obviously it's a standard engine, it has to be. It's even got the ignition key still in it, look, it has to be as per the customer rides the bike. And even the shape and style of the fairing and tank has to remain the same as well. We're not allowed to change that either. Obviously we do paint it differently. Puts out about 170, 175 brake horsepower. Weighs about 165 kilos, runs on a super unleaded fuel, just like a 100 octane fuel, a slightly lower grade than the superbikes, and again everybody runs on the same fuel, so there's no difference from that point of view. There's not really a lot to say about the super. That you see on the back of the bike, that's what we say, it has to be a legal treaded tyre, you can't use a slick, it has to be a tyre like that or a wet weather tyre, you don't get any choice from that point of view. So before we talk about superbikes, has anybody any questions on the super stock bike? I think John McGuinness used that bike in the TT this year as well, so we do use it for more than one purpose. Superbikes, obviously Josh Brookes' bike and Kiyo's bike, the first thing I'll say about the bikes is they're exactly the same. There might be a few different settings to suit the rider, but there's no differences on the bike basically. So on the superbike it's a different kettle of fish to start with. When we start building these bikes they come to us just like that, a standard road bike. The difference is that's worth about £11,000 and these are worth about £100,000. There's a lot more you can change. So I'll tell you can't change the frame, but you can change all the forks, all the wheels, all the brakes, all the calipers. You can change the swinging arm if you want, you can change the back wheel, the calipers, you can change obviously put carbon fibre bodywork on it, on the chassis side. You can change all the handlebars and all the control tables and all the clocks. In the engine, you can't change the crankcase, the crankshaft, but you can change the conrods, you can put the cylinder head, you can change the pistons, the rings, the conrods, you can put a different electronic system on, you can put a bigger radiator on it. We've got a Motec electronic system that controls engine braking, traction control, fueling, ignition, which is very, very expensive, so that's a special system as well. Obviously we have a lot of data recording equipment on the bike as well, so we can measure everything that goes on. The bike's higher performance, it puts out about 210 brake horsepower and it's capable of over 200 miles an hour at somewhere like the Isle of Man TT or the Northwest 200. Again, super unleaded fuel, around about 100 octane, slightly higher grade than what's in there, but again the same fuel as everybody else uses. All our fuel's controlled as well. The minimum weight of the superbike is 162 kilos. If your bike weighs less than that at the end of the race, you're disqualified. So generally ours are about 165. They're a little bit heavier from that point of view, although we do use lots of titanium parts. We use a lot of lightweight parts as well. I always pass the fairing around, it's always interesting. Let people feel these are one of the carbon fibre, just to show compared to if you picked up a road bike one, you know they're a lot lighter, a lot stronger from that point of view. The only differences on Josh and Kiyo's bikes is what they want. They might want a different footrest position, a different handlebar position, they might want different springs in the forks or a different setting. The engines are exactly the same specification, so it really is the rider choice from that point of view.
When Plater was out, did the other rider, did he ride Plater's bike or was it a different?
When we had an Australian rider ride it at, Brian Stein, an Australian rider came over at Snetterton and finished 4th on it at Snetterton, so he rode it while he was not around, certainly. Yeah, certainly from that point of view. Has anybody got any questions on the superbikes at all, or anything I can tell you at all?